Hey there, Algebra 1. Thanks for tuning in for another episode of Math with Mullins. Today we're going to look at 2.5 Day 1, solving equations using absolute value. So how can we solve those absolute value expressions and equations? Absolute value equations contain at least one absolute value expression. So the simplest form would be just the absolute value of x is equal to n, where n has to be a number greater than 0 because absolute value is always measured in a positive number or distance. So if you think about, like, if I take steps forward but I take steps backward, I'm still taking those steps and my body is still using that energy. I can never have a negative absolute value term. So just keeping that in mind, if it's not greater than 0 or equal to 0, then we would say no solution, and we're going to see some examples of that later on. We also want to make sure that we understand how to graph it. So if we have the equation, the absolute value of x is equal to 3, and we're trying to figure out what x could be equal to, the absolute value of 3 can be equal to 3, but the absolute value of negative 3 can also be equal to 3. So we're going to see ways in which we write two separate equations in order to find multiple solutions. So if we were looking at the solution set, the solution set would be this, negative 3, comma 3 within these brackets here. And then you graph that solution set by just putting dots on the number line. So for each absolute value equation, you must consider both cases. To solve an absolute value equation, you first have to isolate the absolute value on one side of the equal sign if it's not already by itself. We won't see as much of that today. We'll see more of that tomorrow in day 2. Let's go and try this first example. Right now we have absolute value by itself on the left, and it's equal to 4. So whenever we're solving for absolute value, we write the initial equation, but we also consider another case where the initial equation might be equal to the opposite of its value. So y plus 2 is equal to 4, and we're also going to be able to find a separate solution for y plus 2 is equal to negative 4. I'm going to solve these the same way. I'm going to start by subtracting 2 from both sides, but they both are going to create two different answers. One solution is 2, the other solution is negative 6. I can prove that both of these work because if I plug in 2 for this y, 2 plus 2 is 4, and the absolute value of 4 is 4. And if I plug in negative 6 for y, negative 6 plus 2 is negative 4, and the absolute value of negative 4 is still 4. So that's why I'm allowed to have two solution sets. So you can say your solution set is 6, comma 2, or just say y is equal to 2 and y is equal to negative 6. It also says to graph it. You can do a basic graph here or basic number line. Here's 0, 1, and 2. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6. So we got negative 6 here, and then positive 2 here. That would be the only way that you would have to graph it for that, okay? Let's see if you can try this one on your own. So again, write two examples, one being equal to 8, one being equal to negative 8, and then graph it once you're done. All right, two possible solutions here. 2t minus 4 is equal to positive 8. 2t minus 4 is equal to negative 8. Solving it, starting off the same way, I'm going to add 4 to both sides. 2t is equal to 12, so that means if I divide by 2, t can be equal to 6. And then over here, if I'm adding 4 to both sides, 2t is equal to negative 4. Divided by 2, t is equal to negative 2. So here are my two solutions. Again, you can write your solution set as negative 2, comma 6. To graph this, you just plot one dot at negative 2 and the other dot at positive 6. Plugging those in to solve it, 2 times negative 2 is negative 4, and negative 4 minus 4 is negative 8, but the absolute value of negative 8 is still 8. And then if I plug in a 6 here, 2 times 6 is 12, 12 minus 4 is 8, and the absolute value of 8 is still 8. So I know those check out. Sometimes we will get an absolute value equation where the variable n, which is this number right here, is not greater than 0 or greater than or equal to 0. Instead, it is less than 0. And whenever we come up with this set of equations where the absolute value is all by itself, so it says the absolute value of this has to be equal to negative 1, we need to say that there are no real solutions. Or you even might see it in your book as this letter O with a cross through it, remembering that absolute value of x has to be equal to all numbers are all real numbers greater than or equal to 0. So you can use 0 in here, you can use 0.1, all the way up to 1 billion. That has to be equal to a positive number. This is not equal to a positive number. That means there's no other number I could put in here. I can even try negative 1. The absolute value of negative 1 does not equal negative 1. There's no real solution for that, okay? So absolute value cannot be negative. Next up, we have a word problem. It says, depending on the size of each song, Luna's phone holds an average of 2,000 songs, give or take 250. Write and solve an equation involving absolute value to find the max and minimum number of songs that Luna's phone can hold. It can hold 2,000 songs, but it could be varying from 250 depending on how long they are. So the variance is 250. That means the variance would be the equals to, and then the number of songs can be found by saying x minus 2,000. So then we would write two separate equations, and then solve each, adding 2,000 to both sides here. One option could be x is equal to 2,250 songs, and then on this side, if I add 2,000 to negative 250, I can say x is equal to 1,750 songs. So my solution set would be anywhere from 1,750 songs all the way up to 2,250, depending on how long or short those songs are. Obviously, the shorter the song, the less memory it's taking up, so you can have maybe up to 2,250 songs, but if she's got a whole bunch of longer songs, it might only hold 1,750 songs. Writing an absolute value equation will be our last portion of our notes today. It says, write an equation involving absolute value for the graph. One thing we want to find first is we want to find the midpoint of both points, okay? So right now, 17 and 27 have a distance of 10 units. So from here all the way over to here is 10 units. That means my midpoint would be 5 points from either side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? This midpoint is going to go in your equation of x minus the 22 midpoint, and then it'll be equal to the equivalent distance, 5. So this number right here is the midpoint, whereas this number is how many steps to get to the midpoint. Okay? So we're going to try that with 4 more examples. They're matching, so let's go ahead and look at them, see if you can try them on your own first, and then check it after you've tried it by yourself. So I'm going to have you pause the video here, see if you can match each one of these absolute value equations with the given graph, and then play the video when you're ready to check. Okay, so remember, these numbers inside the absolute value are your midpoints, and the numbers on the outside are the steps it takes to get from your solutions to the midpoint. So for example, this first graph, I'm going from -2 to +4. That's 6 steps in all. So that means 3 steps would be my steps to get there. So it's got to be this one right here. X minus 1 is equal to 3. The reason why I know it's x minus 1 is 1 is my midpoint, and 3 is the amount of steps it takes me to get there. Okay? Next graph, I go from -2 all the way up to 8. The distance between -2 and +8 is 10. So that means each one would have to take 5 steps to get to the midpoint. My midpoint is at 3. My distance to get there would be 5. So my absolute value equation would be x minus 3 equals 5. Third one, I go from -5 all the way up to 7. So that's 12 steps. So that means half of 12 would be the middle point, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my midpoint would be equal to 1, and it took me 6 steps to get there, so I need to write x minus 1 equaling 6 steps. The last one is kind of tricky because your midpoint's going to be a negative, so I want you to notice what changes with your absolute value equation. I'm from -9 to +3, so that's 12 steps in all. So 12 steps meeting halfway would be 6 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here's my midpoint at -3. Instead of writing x minus 3, I would need to write x minus -3 is equal to my 6 steps to get there, but notice x minus -3 actually simplifies to x plus 3. If in doubt, what you can do is plug in your solutions to see if they work with your graph. So for example, this very first one, it says my solutions have to be -2 and +4. So that means if I plug in a -2 here and a +4 here, it still should create an equal or a true equation. -2 minus 1 is -3, and the absolute value of -3 is still 3. 4 minus 1 is 3, and the absolute value of 3 is still 3. So plugging in those solutions also helps you check your work. Okay, that'll be the conclusion of our notes today. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we will catch you next time on part 2 when we do multiple step absolute value equations. Have a great day. Bye.